culverts, that's his,
Okay.
his group of,
Would be helpful to understand what's going on with that, so.
What's that?
yeah, I think the selectmen wanna talk about it, the culverts. The tree.
Okay. Good afternoon, this is the June 6th, 2024 Madison Conservation Commission meeting. Call the meeting to order, and I'll elevate Ted, if he's willing.
Okay.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of May,
Did you do a motion?
this motion, I made a
Yeah.
motion.
And who's
I'll
the
second
second?
it, yeah.
Yes.
Who seconded it? You will? Okay.
Approval of the minutes. A lot of detail there, very
always
interesting
is.
reading. Any comments? Make a motion that,
Second.
yes.
Hold on. You guys are going
All right.
fast.
We're trying to break a record on getting out of here, is that?
I guess. All right, so we did that.
Okay, public comment. Don't see anybody here, so Tim is not here.
Can I take a moment of his time? I wrote you a note.
Yes, why don't you do that?
Yeah,
Do that right now.
I've been on the commission since 2010 or 11, something like that. And I've always been maintaining the ward parcel path. It's about, what, 3/4 to a mile long. And, you know, each year there's a few challenges with trees down and everything, but nothing my wife and I, or my neighbor and I couldn't handle to keep the path open. Last Saturday I walked it with my wife, and the first walkthrough was always just picking up what we can, taking some loppers and making the trail as passable as we can. We couldn't finish all the work, just clearing it. We probably got halfway around, and there were over 20 trees that are gonna require chainsaw work to keep the trail open, or it's passable. Because Bonnie and I, we cut around some of the major clogs when a tree literally just goes right down along the path. And they're always pine trees, and they're sticky things to try to remove. They're nasty. I'm gonna continue opening it up, and if my neighbor will help me, then we'll do the chainsaw work. Most of the stuff that needs a chainsaw is less than 12 inches, but some of it's good size. I just don't know how many more years I have in me to do this type of work. And I also was wondering if anybody knows the status of any of the other trails. Did they suffer the way this particular trail?
Probably did.
I think a lot of them have.
And what's happening with the
Oh, you
trail?
make a good point. I think Tim has given us a report on some of the issues, but
Okay, well,
certainly not all of them.
I was hoping he'd be here to just,
Right.
I think we discussed, or was mentioned last time, that we need to put something up on the website that says that the trails have suffered damage because of the recent storms, and that it could take us up to 2 years to get the trails cleaned if we wait for Tim to do it on a rotating schedule. I mean, if we want to hire him to go in and do more, that's perfectly plausible, but I don't know that we can do that.
yeah. Well, it was just interesting. I
Okay.
had never
Well-
thought that it would be
Okay.
Right.
that
Well,
much damage.
I had more damage than, in almost the 50 years I've lived here, I had more damage from that storm than at any other time.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, maybe the thing to do is ask Tim to do a
Want me to
survey.
send him an email, since we can't
Well, email.
email him and ask him if we should put a disclaimer on the trails?
I think we
Because he would
should.
know more.
He hasn't been over them though.
Well, maybe it's, we could have a member join Tim in terms of the survey.
Assessment.
So making that opportunity available to anybody. I'm willing to participate.
I would like to, but with my asthma, it's just
Okay.
difficult if the trails involve any elevation.
All right.
It just takes me out of it.
And so the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, but.
I'm sorry, I don't know how bad, I mean, I don't know if they're all as bad as, you know, out back here, because, you know, I thought the trail going up to Go Hill, you know, and up
Yeah.
that way. I was nervous about even driving out there, going out there, because I figured there'd be trees down everywhere, and there wasn't a single one. And it's so some parts of town were untouched, and some parts got hammered. So I really think we gotta.
Take stock.
Yeah, take stock of what, and I would have thought that as much traffic as the Cascades get, somebody would have said something by now if
Right.
it was
No one's complaining.
impassable, so I haven't heard of, that's the
About
first
that.
one that I've heard that's impassable, and I think that, not impassable, but
But
needs work,
difficult.
so, yeah.
It's not a walk in the woods anymore.
Right, yeah,
I know, like,
Finally, if you went up in elevation the slightest little bit, it
Yeah.
was powder.
yeah,
Instead of that heavy snow, it's amazing.
yeah,
You can't even perceive the elevation, and then it was just enough.
yeah,
So,
I still see people walk into McNair easement, so,
Yeah.
you know, the cars are still parked there.
yeah, so I haven't heard anything,
No,
so, maybe just as people say something, we can,
well, we could
Sure,
add,
It's kind of like
Yeah.
make it your
we
own
could even
risk.
add that to the website, just saying that, you know, we're trying to get a feeling for the trail condition, and that if they come across something, please let us
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll formalize my comment. Want to ask Tim to do a survey to determine needs for repair of the trails.
I mean, the trail itself is the most important, but then you get into the boundaries markings. I know I had one or two trees down that we had the markers on. So now I gotta
Alright.
find
Okay, but
a
So-
new tree for
if
that.
somebody needs to second it, or it.
Oh, you're making a motion?
Do we
I
have money for
didn't
that?
make a motion.
Do we have money for that, though?
We do, because I think one relief is the fact that we're not going to have a easement until 2025, most likely. So that expense is deferred until next year.
I mean, the lawyer fees on that?
The easement,
Right,
with the
but
lawyer.
The lawyer, you're talking about the lawyer fees for the easement?
Right, so that goes away, and it may go away if it's, as it may be applied to a retainer, so that is something. We have the, what is it, $2,700 issue with
To discuss.
Which you'll discuss.
the stumps and all, the debris in the water and all that. So that's the only item that I know of that is outside of what our norm is.
I did call Tim, and he did reflag the Madison, the McNair easement boundaries.
Okay,
So I'm expecting that there'll be some charge for that, but it shouldn't be too much.
right. Well, that's to cooperate with the new owner to help that situation. But, okay, so I'm looking for a second on,
I'll second that.
okay.
To ask, I'll send Tim an email and ask him to survey the trails, if there are any need of repairs.
Right,
Report back
if
to
he's
you.
able to do it, you know. We haven't given him the green light on his plan. So some of the trails are covered by the $4,000 appropriation.
Right.
So we haven't given him the green light on that, so let's make a motion that we approve his expense level for this year.
I'll second that with I know he had a plan, what he was gonna check and do, but I think the last time I spoke to him, it might change a little bit because of this storm and the,
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm suggesting we approve the budget, we can have a discussion with
okay,
him.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor?
So we haven't approved his $4,000?
We're basically, because of the one issue and the easement issue, we basically said
think we have
all
to-
bets were off on what we were gonna do this year,
Right.
right? So I'm suggesting that we can more or less move along the normal course.